Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for the School of Design, a workshop on design thinking. Design is imperative to everything, be it a fancy gadget or a regular water bottle. Design is everywhere. Design thinking is an iterative, creative thinking process that forms the basis of everything around us. In today's workshop, we will learn all about the process of design thinking and know how we can use it to improve our problem solving abilities. I would now like to introduce our mentor for the day, Santeri Koivisto. Santeri is a startup geek and serial entrepreneur in edtech specialized in games in education. Gamer and a wannabe concert pianist, he works with XAMK as the head of international affairs and education export, and his other projects include small holdings company Teacher Gaming. Before I hand over the virtual stage to Santari, I'd request you all to keep posting your questions in the chat box and please do not spam the chat box. All the questions will be answered. Now, I invite Santari to take over.
Hello, great to be here. Nice to see old friends already on the chat. So this is always heartwarming when you see old friends. Thank you, Oscar, for the introduction. Glad to be here once more. And just maybe it's good to start with some personal career moves. So I recently changed away from the university that I've been working with last year. I mean, all the master classes previously have been done with Satakunta University of Applied Sciences. We'll still collaborate, of course, great friends and colleagues there. But yeah, a big career move for myself. I moved to another university called X AMK. So AMK means if you think about like what is the difference between SAMK and XAMK, it's like AMK means a University of Applied Sciences in Finnish. So that's why the weird AMK names. But really, I've been lucky to be offered the position to start as the head of international affairs. I also take care of the education export and other stuff, and have a big team with me, and looking really much forward of having these interactions with you in the future as well. So enjoying doing this a lot myself, and enjoying a lot the collaboration with Reskill, with Anamika, with Atskar, and the team behind this. So I think that let's all be thankful for all the work that they are putting together to enable us making this. And thank you, of course, for everybody to come over. It has been amazing to work with you in the past. I'm looking forward for today. We'll try to keep this interesting as always. And yeah, nice to see old friends. And yeah, I guess we can get going if unless Atskar, if you have something that you would like to share before us
Yeah,
starting.
you can go ahead.
Amazing. So hey, let's discuss this design thinking thing from the very top down level. So many times when I've been working with people wherever they come from, students, professionals, and all that, they tend to jump into conclusions immediately. There is like something needs fixing, and we come up with the idea or the fix instantly, and without much thinking about it. And I'm sure that there would be opportunities to think it a bit more, do some maybe research, do some background check, maybe ideation, maybe some brainstorming, things like that, in order to come up with a better solution. Or if not better, at least build ownership around you. So many times, especially when it comes to a manager or director, they give the fix as given, meaning that the manager or the big guy or girl comes up with a solution and hands it over, and there you go, there you have a solution. Where actually a very much more powerful way of doing that would be to involve everybody, do brainstorming together, narrow down the idea and the best solution, and then ask people like, do you think that this is the best idea, like I do? And that's the way how you build ownership around you in a team. So really something that to keep in mind. So really, I think that's like the biggest design mistake is just not to do design at all, not to you know start from the beginning to actually try to understand what the problem is. We'll come back to the steps in a moment, but really, I think that every time when we have a bigger issue, of course, we come better, we come wiser, we come smarter, we come, well, at least some of you come Maybe I'm getting stupider at this point, but anyways, I try to cope with that, and really, if there is any like a small issue that you know the answer, of course you don't need to overdo things. But whenever there's a bigger issue you are not quite certain, please come back to this today. Come back to design thinking process, and use that in order to really you know make a better decision, make a better solution, and also involve others to help you to make the solution or build ownership, so everybody's on board, everybody feels like they have a say in what we are doing. So this is that's the mistake, and the sort of the tip number one. um, and sort of the second one that is often that I found extremely useful is that whenever you are doing design, whenever you are trying to solve an issue through design thinking, for example, uh, people don't prepare or warm up. And we'll, of course, we will be warming up today. And I've been very fortunate last fall to work with multiple Indian students here in Finland. They have been at Satakunta University of Applied Sciences. They have been working there with me in the courses. Has been about 10 Indian students, which of course is amazing because now I work with you here. Of course, currently the interaction is only mostly the chat. It's great, but it would be really nice to work face to face. But so I've had the luxury now to actually do that last fall, and I've been asking these people that okay, like every time when we start a class, we are always doing projects, always doing some fixing some solutions or something else, discussing big topics, and I've always done warm up, and I show you what I do. And then one time on purpose, I decide to not do it. And people were just completely frozen. And they weren't really, talking and getting loosened up. And I was asking them, like, no, what's the problem? Why are you so stiff? And then they were sort of thinking, yeah, well, we haven't done much warm up today, so I guess that's it. Absolutely. So whenever there are maybe some other teachers even or the lecturers or the professors that they mention the group that I've been working with, they say that okay, this group is a bit silent, they're not too active. Well, aren't there? I think they're amazingly active. But at the same time, we do warm up every single class. So really, when you are trying to get people open up, share ideas, be active, be open, vocal, all that, warm up. You can't deny the power when you have first done it. Of course, now we are doing remote. It's nice, but it's not like what it would be live. So please, I will share some techniques, some ideas how to do that. So please try those maybe next time when you're doing group work. Um, so yeah, couple of questions from the chat. Let's start with so what things are we going to learn here today? So I'm glad that you asked. Sorry if I didn't elaborate it very well. So today we are actually discussing design thinking process and how to design basically better things. We are not designing like a furniture or a game, just like how you can basically approach from a practical, systematic way and design whatever you want. That might be a solution, it might be an idea, just to come up with an idea, or it might be if you want to design or prototype maybe an app or furniture. But we are looking at this from a slightly abstract level. Now, the challenge will be related to United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. So we are actually looking at a couple case studies, actually I think three, where how, for example, through design and do design process, organizations have been able to implement these very abstract sustainable development goals to how they operate. Um, so hopefully that also answered some of the questions in the chat. And now also about the certificates. So how the process is going to work this time is that we're going to have roughly maybe 1.5 hours, maybe slightly more with me about the design process, looking at a couple case studies, and then we're going to have a case study coming from India, and then we'll basically share you what the actual challenge will be, and basically you will be designing a solution for that challenge, and you'll get a chance to pitch it tomorrow. So basically, that's the way how you get a certificate, and how the arc of drama for this session will go. Now tomorrow will be sort of the pitching sessions. We'll evaluate your ideas overnight this evening. So that's the thing. So now it's about 2.5 hours, more like a, let's be interactive. Let's use the chat. I'll try to follow it all the time. We'll talk about the design, and we'll talk about case studies, and then we'll tell you about the challenges, and then you can use the information provided today in order to create a good design and solution. Now, some of you will be has been part of these master classes already before. Some of you are excellent at pitching their ideas. So of course, we'll give you the criteria and details, but really you can use all the previous knowledge about the master classes that you have accumulated. Of course, please use all the information that you learned at school, and then you can bring everything here. So what could be the outcomes for today? So hopefully after this, so I would say the big part is that whenever there is a problem that you need to solve or something you need to create, slightly small, something slightly bigger than what are you going to eat today. Let's say that you need to create a solution for a group project. Maybe you want to design an app, whatever. So the number one thing is that how do you facilitate solving a big challenge or a medium-sized challenge? How do you think through that? So that's number one. And the second one would be, how do you basically warm up and keep the flow going? These two are very connected. And then the third thing that is, we are discussing the UN Sustainable Development Goals. So that will be sort of the contents that we are going to work around, and hopefully you get some factual information about UN SDGs during this session. All right. Let me start going through sort of the design stuff. So now you will be actually, there are a lot of questions about that in the chat. So let's get going. Now let me share you my screen. There we go. So I have a board with me over here, and I will be sharing the link to this board to you after this session. So all of this information will be available to you. Now, couple of words to start with. I will be, of course, following the chat all the time on the left here. That's why my head is like this. So apologize for not always looking at the camera. So quickly introducing like the two universities that are helping us to do this. So Satakunta University of Applied Sciences. So if at any moment you are interested in studying AI, robotics, maritime, or hospitality, looks like I have a typo there, but no worries. SAMK would be a great choice for that. And in terms of XAMK, they are very busy and world famous in games, environment engineering, and also business. So now Finland tends to be world's happiest, world's cleanest, world's most equal country to begin with, and a really great place to live. So, and a great place to study in terms of pedagogy, especially. So whenever you are thinking about your career choices, you might also consider Finland. Then the thing is that Finland has a massive deficit of especially technical talent. So if you're looking for a place where you can actually work part-time at the same time when you are studying, and maybe finance your studies through work, that Finland is a good choice for that as well. But this is the only sales pitch. So I currently work at the XAMK as their head of international affairs. So this is just something that I want to share with you, and feel free to take a look if you are interested. Feel free to get in touch when and if this is relevant to you. Okay, let's get going. So I promised you some warm up, what I like to do myself. Let me quickly go into, and I'll get a picture from Google. And now really what this first warm up is going to be, I will be following the chat, and you can basically come up with ideas and based on the criteria I'm going to give you. Now, your first task will be to come up with an alternative use for an umbrella. So come up with an alternative use for an umbrella. And I will be pasting your ideas here from the chat. How alternatively could you use umbrella? And this is really to get you guys thinking. If you have a group work cap, group work that you are working on, this would be a great way to get your group like thinking outside of the box. Store water, great. Rainwater harvester, great ideas coming. Walking stick, that's classy. Storage tank, oh, why not? Maybe not for gasoline, but okay. So self-defense, let's call it that. Oops. Sail, that's great. If you are stranded, you can use it. Tent, upside down as a place for birds. Ah, bird feeder, great idea. Shed, bag, shelter, absolutely. Yeah, protect animals. Let's put it animal shelter. For studying, how do you use it for studying? Let me actually also open sun protection. Yeah, yes. So many of the Asian folks, they do use it for in like a Korea for um, sun cover. Decoration, dance. How do you use it for grow plants? How do you do that? Drainage system as a waterproof material. So if you waterproofing, that's actually a great idea. That just support something. Yeah, the dance would be very interesting. So tent, let's put it there as well. Where are we? I've lost my tent. Digging, maybe drilling something. Pot. Okay, I'm getting Teams messages. Let me get rid of that. Planter. All right, great. These are great ideas. Let's try something else. This is not this is not this is not a commercial for Honda. I'm sure Honda cars are great, but this is just so come up with alternative use for a car. So this is just the point here is to open you up to think about things outside of the box. You know, break some original normal boundaries. So this is why this warm-up thing is. So you can use this with your friends, your family, whatever. When you need to come up with some ideas. Okay, transport. Yeah, well, that's too close to the. Traveling is also too close as a robot. Okay, shelter, that's also a good one. Oops. Now, a lot of button pressing. Shield, okay, okay. About what? To shield you from what? Yeah, thunderstorm. Survival, ambulance, yeah, well, okay. Like emergency transport. Don't break the speed limits. Ah, yeah, like an old school car cinema. Pop-up shop, cool. There's limited space though. So you could maybe drive to, let's say, to Connaught Place in Delhi and start selling stuff out of that. Monster car for movie, in-car shop, light source. That's a good one. That's a good one. Private place for mothers, babies. Excellent idea. Pull something, yes. Delivery, parlor, speaker. Yeah, speaker, why not? So really, why I'm skipping some of your ideas is basically because of them being very close to the original purpose, to play music. Restaurant on wheels. Mobile home. Yeah, it's as a home. I hope not. It might be very crowded. Mirror. To create electricity like we use hamster to create. Okay, well, so generator. Okay, storage space. DIY photography studio. Okay, that's interesting. Storage space, shop, display things. Interesting. Mini vaccine center. Very, very relevant. Okay, an office. Yeah. Okay. Now let's move on. So this was warm up. Alternative uses. So now you get the idea. Really good warm up. But this next one is even better. So let's do this. Now, I challenge you. Come up with a bad idea. Let's say like an ice umbrella. Something that is, sounds silly, sounds maybe stupid, something that is a bad idea. Come up with something like that. Mm. Car seats can be used as massage seats. Gum shoes. Okay, like you mean gum under the shoe or like shoes made out of gum, like a rubber? But cotton coat, I think we're doing that already. Sweet chicken, hat, rotten tomatoes. The color, two color umbrella. How is that a bad idea? Could it be like million colors? Chili ice cream. That's a good idea. Ice cream should be eaten. I need bad ideas, guys. Mini traveling museum. I guess that's still for a car. Car with exterior music system. That's getting close. That's a good one. Wet socks. Like something that is like a by default wet. Romance under umbrella. Ice hat. Okay, hey, ice hat. That's a good one. Okay. Let's see if I can Google a picture for us for ice hat. Ice hat. It's only giving me like a wool. Okay, let's do that. Ice hat. So now we have a bad idea here. Now come up with a why this is a good idea. Argue that this is a great idea. And why is this a great idea? Why is an ice hat made out of ice a good idea? Car without wheels. We can use something like that soon. Let's come back to that. Why is an hat made out of ice a great idea? Because it can make your head feel cold. Yeah, when it's warm. Makes your head cool when it's hot. Yeah, cool you down during summers. Summer cooling. Refrigerator. Yes. Sorry if I'm spelling it. Prevention from heat. Wash our hair. Yeah, you can put shampoo in it. Yeah. Protect from sun and summer with cold umbrella. To use it cool a swollen part. Amazing. So if you get maybe an injury, you can use your ice hat. Storing food. Carry ice cream. Yeah. Including ice cream. First aid. Yes. So height, compression, and cold. Yeah. So it's a design element. Yeah. Absolutely. It's cool. It's cool. It's just like very cool to have a keep snowballs in it. Yes, if you have snow around. Eco-friendly. Yeah, yeah. So what is the point for this exercise? Is that you can always see the positive side. Like yes, so somebody might in a group, for example, somebody might come up with a silly idea. We can turn every idea is valuable. Every idea is an input to the conversation. It doesn't matter if it's a great idea that is the winning solution or is it a silly idea. But an idea can wake ideas in other ideas, so it's just a conversation. So these type of always positive activities will make the culture in your group like very open, very welcoming. People can share their ideas. So that's why, like when you first, start working with people and people are a bit like, closed, you can challenge them to first of all come up with bad ideas in order to basically set the tone that all the ideas are put in there. Maybe you are the one who tells the most silly idea, so you open the floor and somehow expose yourself, and then you start to think about the positives. So always, doesn't matter how silly idea, you always think about the positives. So this is something that's a really powerful exercise as well. So let's try another bad idea. Um, yeah, the vaccine storage is it's a good one. So let's come up with another bad idea. There was the car without wheels. Should we use that? Car without wheels. Car with. Okay, so why is car without wheels? I mean, stone hat was also a good one. Uh, and umbrella with holes, good ones. Uh, red pepper gloves, yeah, I love those. Let's. This was the first one to arrive. So let me know, why is a car without wheels a great idea? It could be a shop, okay, like a funky, cool shop. Say the hipster shop. Hipster. Dining. A library, why not? So maybe a recycle uh, sort of a library where you can bring books and take another one. Yeah, it can be turned into a storeroom. Dining. Yeah, maybe you can take the doors out and flip the seats like this and have like a table in the middle. Could be great. Yeah, it can be recycled. I actually recycled my boat last summer. Yes, so yeah, bus stop, resting spot. Great ideas. A dog home. That's great. Dog home. Relaxing point, a saloon, maybe like a barber could do it. Like you sit in the front chair, and then the barber will be in the back seat, and that's their magic. Could be decoration, absolutely. Shoot, greenhouse, yeah, that's a good one. Photo shoot, yes, also photo shoot decoration. Secret place, animal shelter. Okay, eco car. Well, it's an eco car when you don't drive it. Yeah, absolutely. Vintage car collection, more emergency food storage room, secret place, movie theater. Why not put a big screen like a Tesla? Garden house, museum. Well, it could be a museum object, absolutely. All right, eco-friendly house. Yeah, maybe. It, wood would be more eco-friendly than a metal car. But hey, great inputs, great ideas, great arguments. So now let's recap ever so slightly. And please ask about these warm-ups if you have any questions. So really there were two warm-ups, coming up with alternative uses and bad ideas. And really the two main points for this were just to open up the conversation with you at the chat. But of course, you can open up the conversation in a teamwork situation as well. Alternative uses is a great warm-up when you want to open people up, meaning like they would think outside of the box and give inputs and sort of break boundaries. Then bad ideas is about culture creation. It's about every idea being welcome and every idea being, good. Every idea has positives. We have been doing this exercise with students, for example, these bad ideas, where they have been coming up with bad business ideas. And on purpose, we have been pitching them and iterating the pitch all the time. And those bad business ideas have been actually turned into like an amazing ideas that actually like make sense, and they're like, whoa, this is like a cognitive dissonance here, because this idea sounds silly on a paper, but then the arguments are so great that I need to try this. So really powerful exercises there. Yeah, so please, whenever you are going to a teamwork situation, or maybe you are just stuck with getting your brain working, try things like this. There are some really good online resources for warm-ups, but I think these are some of the best ones that I found so far. Yeah, and it would be really like pineapples on pizza. Thank you, and it would be really great to do this, of course, on site. With you in a location, have there, be there with you. But pandemic times and all that, so that's why we are online. Okay. All right, so let's go into a bit more of the content. And what I said, I will be sharing this with you in the future. Now, let's look at this process here. We are not going into like amazing detail with each one, because I don't think it's necessary. What I think here is that for you to understand the basics is what is really key here. And really, so many times, something that I already mentioned at the very beginning is that I talk with business owners, I talk with students, I talk with professionals from various fields, and I just I ask them, so how do you came up with this idea? Well, it just came to me, and I'm just asking them, well, did you Google about your idea? Has somebody already done it? For example, do you need to invent the wheel again, or would there be some material that could support you? Or maybe it's some business idea where maybe somebody wants to put a coffee shop at Connaught Place and in Delhi. And then, okay, so have you Googled if there are actually coffee shops in Connaught Place? Well, no. Well, have you been to Connaught Place and checked out like how many people are actually sitting in coffee shops, and would there be opportunities to put that? No. And really, then the final example would be that people say that, okay, maybe we charge 2 euros for the coffee that we are selling, but they haven't done the math if that 2 euros even makes any sense, or let's say 200 rupees, if that makes any sense for the price. They haven't done even a math if they can get their own money back with selling that with that money. It's like really, I assure you that people skip out on preparation and research so many times. So really, this is something that whenever you have really the only and the main point for this thing is that whenever there is a challenge or a problem, please, take a deep breath and go to the beginning and, think about it, research it. And now we are going to be discussing how to actually do that. But this is a common problem. But let's start with this sort of emphasize question at the beginning. Now, how can we, please, let's say we have a problem. And in this case, we would be having problem with, let's say that our problem might be that our friends, like your friends in wherever you live, don't know about, let's say about their ecological footprint. They don't know about their footprint. They don't know about recycling necessarily. They don't know about how to preserve nature. They are acting in a way that they might be, counterproductive to, for nature and recycling and, being sustainable. That's the problem. Let's call it that. So how can we start understanding what is going on? How can we emphasize the situation and learn from the situation, that we can start understanding what is the problem, what is the core reason behind this behavior or this lack of understanding? Any ideas on how to start learning about your sort of surroundings and the context? What ideas do you have? We can start then collecting these ideas that you come up with. So if I want to learn about something, how can I go about it? Feel free to observation. Observe the surroundings. Amazing. Great. Let's put it there. Observations. Yeah, just go in, see how things are. Google it. You know, we have all the world's information in our fingertips, so why not use it? Yes, conversations. Something that I want to mention about conversations. Really, people come from different cultures. There are different political surroundings. A lot of things are going on. We don't share the same views. We don't necessarily share the same observation. We don't have the same experiences. So when you are really trying to understand something, try to be as non-judgmental as you can. So if somebody doesn't know about global warming or doesn't know about recycling, how can we expect them to actually, behave that way, that it would be sustainable? So of course, we need to be just non-judgmental about what they say and what their current status is. Yeah, exploration. Yeah, local friends, have conversations, collaboration. Yeah, absolutely. Um, and yeah, yes. So we come from the analysis and all that in a moment. There's a good way. Okay, so yes. So research is really and different ways of doing that. So let's take that here. And research being, of course, sort of the umbrella topic here. We already have great ideas here, but let's say we want to have more on the research. Somebody mentioned already survey, observations, discussion, conversations. What ways of research do we have? Of course, Google case study. Yeah, we have data, which is like a quantitative, and we have like conversations or interviews that are qualitative. Meaning that from here we can look into big themes, and from here we can look into understanding what really is the core point. Yeah, be a good listener, absolutely. So yes, so interviews, all kinds of interventions. An intervention means that maybe we have 10 people that have a certain type of behavior, then we teach them something and see if their behavior changes. Yeah, books. So books are in a way maybe slightly out of fashion currently, but I assure you that books are the best way to learn something very deeply, very fast. You cannot learn as fast from videos or podcasts or these than you could actually read a book and reflect on the book. Advice is like YouTube, yeah. So of course, like always seek advice. Like that's great one. You don't need to invent the wheel again. Magazines, of course, talk with experts. So many great ideas. Okay, now we have like a good list of ways to actually start emphasizing. And by the way, let's one very important thing. This is the key. So always interactions, discussions, those are the key. So ask questions, ask people who don't know anything, ask people who are experts or who claim that they are experts, ask Google, ask your parents, ask your friends, ask your little brother if you have one, or sister. Like conversations are really the key. Yes. All right. Yeah, Instagram, like all of these, like let's say if you wanna understand the behavior of young people in certain area. I mean, Instagram is a great place to see what they are posting and understand their views. But when you are looking for factual information, I don't know if Instagram is a great place to do that. But yes, so all right. So now we have a massive load of ideas on how to do research and how to ask questions and all that. Let's actually put this on this side here. Now, there are two things that we need to discuss here as well. One is reliability and validity. And what these two things means is that, of course, we want to know that the way that we are studying something and researching something is reliable. So what it means basically is that if we want to really understand something, understand the behavior of somebody, of course we need to go and interview and go deep. That is the way how we can reliably understand somebody's behavior. But then if we want to just see like a statistical point of view, like how many people recycle in our neighborhood, yes, so then maybe a survey would be a better way. But then if they don't know what recycling means, of course it would be very hard to be a reliable in a survey, because of course you would need to ask them first, like, do you recycle? And then, do you know what recycling means? So that's why it's important to think that, can you actually collect the data, and is the information you are getting reliable? Is that actually something that makes sense from the question that you want to get answer? So this is something important. And then also, the validity is another question. So, is the data that we actually have Is it interviews? Is it data? Is it numbers? Whatever it is it something that is actually connected and tells us, the right stuff? So reliability and validity are just something that whenever you are getting research done, whenever you are getting information, check that your data is reliable, and check that your data is actually valid. And there are, of course, ways of doing that. You can, interview people, on top of having data out of that, and vice versa. So many times. Um, there are documentaries, social media, teachers, like so many different things that you have already listed here. Uh, and somebody asking if we are meeting also tomorrow. Yes, so this will continue tomorrow, but with the presentations and TED Talks. Absolutely, like some really great ideas there as well. But let me give you an example here. I have there was an idea. Okay. So let me ask you a question here. Let me have like an example question. At that demonstrates to you how you can do mistakes with reliability and validity. Just as an example, how you can basically introduce your biases to people that you are actually studying. So if we ask a question, let's say, what type of tools have you used at schools to study sustainability? So what is the problem? Can you tell me, this is a tough question. So if you know the answer to this, then I will be amazed. But I want to ask it from you because I know there's super smart people today on the line. So now, what type of biases and problems this question, from your point of view, if we want to get reliable data and reliable answer, what problems this question has? Yeah, people are still posting like good ideas for the research things. So thank you for those. Yeah, Wikipedia, good one. Books, great. Different infographics, statistics. But let's look at this question. What type of problems do you think that this particular question has? So if you want to understand what people know about sustainability and you are approaching this with a question like this, what type of problems and biases this already has? Let me see if you come up with some. What type of problems this? Most of the tools are hypotheses. Yes, so the clarity might be one problem. So I think that's a good point. Limited age groups in schools. Yeah. Yes. So Aditi, I think that's a great way. Like we could split this question into pieces. That's a great idea. Yeah, visuals and workshop. I think that's a good one for the previous one. By the way, the sustainability is not something to study; it's something to do. Absolutely. Yes. So this is, of course, without context. This is hard to understand. But really, what I'm trying to aim for here is that this question already introduces many hypotheses, and it is already suggesting that tools are being used. It already expects, or it thinks that schools are already using those tools, and it already expects that the person knows what sustainability means. So it is like this particular question already introduces by itself many sort of biases. So first of all, of course, we need to know that people understand what this question particularly, what this means. So, and if we know that this person knows about sustainability, we can, for example, ask something like, how do you find information about, or how do you learn, or how do you find information about sustainability? And this question would already skip, the expectation or the bias that, the school is the place, and also that there are some particular tools that are being used. This is just like one example of like how interviewers and how researchers, without actually knowing, they already introduce, the sort of the answer and their bias as part of the research instruments. And this type of questions really weakens the reliability of our information, because for this question, the student or the person would understand, yes, well, we use tools at school, okay, and we use books, and it's not valuable information. This would potentially provide us information that, yes, I've learned about sustainability at school, and we are using books at schools to learn about sustainability. So it would be much more open and much more and have less biases already in it when you ask questions like this. So really my point here is that the reliability and validity are very sort of subtle things. And when you are asking questions, try to avoid answering the question already as part of the question, or introducing your biases to the person that you are discussing with. So this is just something that, pay attention to that. And also, when you are discussing in an everyday life, try avoiding questions like, I'm sure that you haven't studied sustainability at school, because it is like a negative hypothesis, like a negative expectation. Like people get a feeling about those negative expectations that, yeah, I guess we haven't done much at school, although they might have done many wonderful things. So really, when you are framing a question, please try to ask them in a neutral way. Have you used, or have you, how have you learned something, or have you done this at school, rather than, uh, I guess you haven't done this in school. It's like super common and super easy to somehow expect the negative outcome out of these conversations, and people do it by not knowing it. So pay attention that you don't approach people by suggesting the negative outcome, but that you are open and neutral. And even you can sometimes pay attention that whenever you are communicating with people and trying to build positive culture, that I'm sure that you have done something at school, like you expect the positive rather than the negative. Let's see if there are some comments. Yes, yeah, it's the positive way. There are still like really good ideas for the research, workshops and science books, education ministry even. Yeah, I'm sure that they are doing. That's politically biased though, so please always, take that with a pinch of salt. So when is this session going to end? So this session is going to end roughly in about 1.5 hours, I would say. So 2.5 hours to maximum 3, depends on how our guests arrive here. So that's really the thing. Now, let's conclude the thing here at emphasis. So naturally, with emphasis, emphasizing something, if you have a very small thing, you can just have a conversation. You can, ask people's opinions, ideas, do a bit of sort of a lightweight thing. But now, if you have a bigger issue, let's say that you are really trying to design something, maybe you are looking into building a business, the more you can emphasize, the more you can understand like where and how you are going in, the better off you will be doing. Because really, the answer might be here. If you want to build a business and you are really emphasizing your potential customer base and your audience, the answer might be that don't do the business, don't start the business. And it's a huge save of time and energy at that moment. So really, this is the homework of whatever you want to do, especially when you want to embark on a journey to build a business or start a project or something else. The more you can emphasize, the more you can learn and do your homework, the better. In some master classes before, we have done some market analysis stuff as well, which is really the emphasis in a business context. We have done top-down analysis, we have done bottom-ups, unit metrics analysis. People who have been on those master classes can take a look at those. But really, there are so much you can do. Ready-made analysis methods. Please Google how you can do that. There are some ideas already available for you, but really, this is the homework. This is the way how you can guarantee you don't waste your time. And this is the way to guarantee what you are going to do next is productive. So please keep this in mind. Super often people skip this completely. Any questions about emphasizing something? Sorry that somebody needs to leave for their class. This board will be available to you, so you can always come back. If there are some, then we can come back to those as well. I know there's a small delay with all the information coming to me. Oops. Um, can I explain this again? Well, in a nutshell, yes. So emphasizing is really the homework, really the most important part of this, that can decide if this is something that should be done or not. This is the homework that makes sure that you don't waste your time. And this research is like the umbrella term, how to know, how to emphasize, different tools to emphasize. And these are just ideas for you, how you can approach understanding your context, understanding where the problem is coming from. How do we research if the idea is never been heard or known? Well, that's a really good thing. So quite often good ideas come from pain points, like there is a problem, maybe a solution for something is missing, or maybe people are looking into new ways of spending time, all that. So it's a good question. I think that really when something like this is discovered, or there is an idea, then a good way is just to start those conversations, start pitching your idea, see if other people feel the same way about it, maybe create some sort of a pitch deck or presentation about that. Maybe create a prototype if it's an app, or if it's something tangible or concrete. Maybe you can create something like a proto out of that and test it. But of course, this is all something that we are discussing during this whole process. So this emphasizing is just something to begin with. And I think for something that is never heard and known before, of course, just exploring, having those conversations, understanding if people get it, if people really need it, if they feel it's valuable. I think that's a good start. Okay, let's go with the define part. It's spelled wrongly. It's define. So now, really, this define part is when sort of this emphasizing has been done, and really, the first goal here is to make a decision. Do we make this or not? So sometimes, based on the homework that you have done, it it just comes clear that what you are planning doesn't require anything. It's already ready. It's not worth doing. It doesn't make sense, maybe business wise or time spent wise. So this decision is really the key thing. You would basically in the define part, you will understand the challenges. Then we would understand the pain points. What can be changed and what doesn't. And at the same time also, if there are some like objectives, personas, what these personas mean is that different usage groups. For example, if we have maybe older people have certain needs and wishes, maybe younger people have other hopes and wishes. So this is one. Now let's actually go a step back. This is just sort of how we, based on this, how we define what we actually need to do. What are the problems that we need to that needs doing. Now let's start a sort of a design journey together. And let me ask you, which one of these UN Sustainable Development Goals would be something that you think is most important to you? And this is, of course, me trying to emphasize with you what is important for you. What out of these 17 is most important to you? Where do you think that you need to know more? And where do you think that we need most sort of advocacy and we need to inform people? Quality education. So please only put one time so I can try to follow. So good health and well-being, gender equality, everything of course is very important. All are important. No, let's see if I can. This is the maximum I can make this. Quality education, hunger. Quality education is coming from different sources. Yeah, that's quality education, zero hunger. Please don't spam because it's easier for me to see like what the quality education is definitely now picking up like most votes, I would think. 10, yeah, energy. I'm sure that also when you are interested in a certain topic, that would be 4, zero hunger, no poverty. Quality education. I think there has been, yes, this is overall, of course, this is important. I'm just curious if we actually should let me rephrase the question. So now that feels like it is it's a mix of people think about if different things are there is no clear winner. So out of 1 to 5, rank out of 1 to 5. This is once more me trying to emphasize with you. Put a number between 1 to 5, 1 being not at all, 5 being a lot, 3 being bootsy in the middle. How much do you know about sustainable development in general? Rank your own know-how between 5 to 5, 1 to 5. 1 is 0, 5 is like, I know a lot. Rank your own know-how. And you can be You can be very bullish. You can think that you are very well off. I'm sure you are. If you think that you are very don't know much, be open with that. I mean, this is there is no right or wrong answer. 5, 4, 3. Okay, people are very positive about that. 3.1, very accurate. 5, 3. Please once more put one time. I mean, we can see it from here. 2. So okay, so there are some people who would also like to know more. So that's great. Great to know. Some say 5. So no ones so far. A couple twos. And then a few 5s. Okay, great. So looks like you are already well versed with this. Now, if we wanna, let's say our problem and challenge today is to how can we educate and make Indian youth, Indian high schoolers and younger, more aware of sustainable development. What are the ways how we can learn more about the current state of what Indian high schoolers actually know about it? Do we have those answers here? How can we know more about Indian high schoolers and how much they know about sustainable development if the end goal is that we need to increase the awareness? Any thoughts? Surveys? Yeah. Through which channels? Where do we put the survey? Questionnaires? Same. Yeah. Competitions. That's a good one. How do we engage them in the competition? Let me actually put those. Debates, conversations, schools as a vehicle to campaigns, social media, absolutely, online workshops. Do they come? UK, quizzes and puzzles, maybe a knowledge games, absolutely. Why is this not? Oh, comic book, great idea. Ads and polls. So this would be me now doing a great emphasis from you guys to understand more about this topic. How could we educate people more about this challenge? So now basically, what do you think? Do Indian high schoolers need more based on what you know? I mean, you are smart. You are coming from like good schools and students that are here to with all the curiosity and all that. So I'm sure that you are very well off. But do you think that the current level of Indian high schoolers, for example, is it good enough to understand sustainability and act accordingly? I'll put some of your ideas more here. Looks like there are yes and no, both. Yes. I'm sure that the next generation will be smarter than the previous one. Somewhat yes. Yeah, benchmarking, learn from South Korea. Street art, that's a great one. Okay. So based on the information here, looks like we are we are well off with. Currently, we could sort of define our problem that Indian high schoolers already know a lot about sustainability and sustainable development. Now, I'm sure that there is a lot to do in order to get the know-how into action and also make the young people the driving force of getting the whole country to be more sustainable and be as develop sustainably. So now I think that we have sort of defined the problem here. That Indian high schoolers already know a lot about sustainable development, but still there is plenty to do in order to spread the knowledge. So let's sort of define our problem in a way that's, let me put it here, how to turn Indian youth, with capital letters, into sustainable development advocates in India. So this is our big problem. We have defined our problem. And now the next thing is, what type of ideas do we have in order to make this challenge work? We can put it there. Actually, let's put it there. And now it's really the key thing. Now, a lot of times when we move into bringing and coming up with ideas, people fall in love with the first idea they come up with. And at this moment, these warm-ups are extremely useful. Well, we have done it already, like an hour ago, but really try to focus your energy, and if you are working with a team, their energy. Now we have emphasized the problem. We know about it. We know what the context is. We have now defined our challenge and our problem, and now it's time to move on the solution side. So now we have done our homework. Now it's time to come up with solutions. And now, really, the focus at the very beginning is to spam ideas, not to the chat, of course, please put them only once, but come up with different ideas that how could we start solving this challenge. So now I challenge you to think about this and throw your ideas on how to throw into the chat your ideas how to turn Indian youth into sustainable development advocates in India. So the Indian youth would be the driving force of making India even more sustainable. Okay, school campaigns already came up. Now I challenge you, like, how do we activate people? Like, how do we, activate you? What can you do next? How could you get information? How could you start advocating this? How could you go to your parents and say, hey, let's start recycling more? How could you go to, you know, for example, when you go to eat, how do you know, choose restaurants that are more sustainable and vote with your feet? SDG clubs. Great, where people can hang out and come together. Could be a Discord, web series, put it there. Movies and songs. Yeah, well, culture. So culture, culture products, movies, songs, comics. Human development. Yeah, in general, just like educate people, of course. Workshops like this, absolutely. Websites, yeah, we do have that there. Just pamphlets. How to type. spelling problems. Different clubs at schools, for example, in schools. Mm, yes, just creating like a pitch deck, a new subject. Oh, advertisement, Instagram. Yeah, just spam Instagram with sustainability hashtag and just get like it trending. Social media trending. So I think like I'm not I'm not an activist, and I'm not here to encourage you to do activism all that. Of course, we are here to be lawful citizens and do things that are lawful and all that. But I really like. I think I just need to bring this up. I don't know if you know a street artist called Banksy, and he's extremely famous in the West, and he has done some miraculous street art that has been awakening a lot of waves and really interesting conversations. And he's always making these very artistic street arts, which are illegal. So I'm not encouraging you to do that. But really, he's always has like some message that he wants to get across, and it's a big deal when Banksy makes the next move. And I'm just like, this is really cool. Like when you think about you walking to your school and you see like a street art that is like about sustainability and the culture is there. I think it's really powerful and cool. I don't know about you. Please ask for permission if you want to do some street art, but I think it's a really cool idea. School trip, school trips, rewards. Yeah, the campaigns like competitions, um, drama. Yeah, plays and drama and movies. I think we have it there. Let's add drama as well. Graffiti. Yeah, yes, absolutely. We need like a celebrities. So of course, this is great. Uh, yeah, the graffiti. Yeah. So, but I repeat that. So I'm not encouraging you to do any illegal graffiti anywhere. It's more like if you get a permission and you could do like a street art next to your school, would be really cool about sustainability. Yeah, posters, organization, just you know, hmm, getting associated, meaning like you would set up an association, like a youth association to run this. Rewards, games, yeah, just sustainability games. What is a moon program? Uh, somebody needs to explain that to me. I need to Google it. Model United Nations. Ah, okay. Great idea. Great idea. Flash mob. Ah, that's a great idea. Speeches. Yeah. Uh, so many great ideas. So think about the power of community. If this would be a campaign opener that youth unites and let's come up with ideas, and now we would just like who picks what, we would have an amazing campaign already starting from this call. So I really recommend, if something is important to you, come together, design something like this together, and open up. Powerful. Amazing ideas. There are so many ideas there. Sorry if I didn't pick up everything. I did my best. But this is an amazing ideation uh, work that we have already done here. Now, I want to stop going through this. We are now here. We are at an idea pace. Now, we have so many great ideas. I will be sharing this. I'm sure you have so many more. Sorry about not being able to put everything there. Now, the challenge will be to prototype these ideas. That it will be you on your own. And then you will be testing these ideas by presenting this and getting feedback. We are coming back to this. But I want to share you now a couple real life cases on how design thinking has been used in order to progress sustainable development goals. Now, I want to ask you before going there, is there any questions about these three first things that you would like me to discuss? Any questions? Are great ideas, and please, spamming is not helping. So I will do my best with keeping up with the ideas, but I need to. There's also a schedule, so I need to basically move forward because I know that you guys also have something else to do for today. But any questions about emphasizing or defining the problem, or now ideating and brainstorming? And once more, repeating that for ideation, warm up is really important. So summary, quick summary. Now, emphasizing is the homework, is really to understand what is going on, what is important, how the people feel, how is the current set of things, is there a problem to solve, so to speak, and also understand the opportunity here. So this is the homework, this is the background work. If you don't do this, everything else can be in vain. You might waste your time. If you do this well, you might find the opportunity of your lifetime. So really, this is the homework, most important stuff. And spend time with this and don't skip it. So many people skip it. Please pay attention to this. Defining is much simpler. It's something that when you learn from people, then you basically define what the problem was, what are the people that had the problem, what is the opportunity, what do we need to do, and try to make it like a solid, simple, this is what we are doing. And based on this challenge that you have identified, you start brainstorming ideas. And really key here at the ideate stage is to spam as many ideas so you empty your head. If the biggest mistake here is that you come up with one idea and you just pick that up and you don't even think about the other ideas. That's often the problem. So with the ideation, just come up with as many ideas as you can. Then you think about which one works the best, and you move forward with that one. Of course, here we have so many ideas that we could also combine, and so it's a challenge. But it is supposed to be hard. So yes, so we will be going into the prototyping. So you basically get to pick one of these ideas. You can of course come up with new ideas, and the idea is to sort of create a prototype of how that looks like. And I'm of course go and show you some prototyping ideas, how you might do it, and then we'll actually test it in you get to present the ideas, and then we'll have the ability to also test and get feedback for those. Yeah, but the prototype is sort of how should I phrase it? It's like an experimental sort of product or idea. Prototype can be just you talking out your idea out loud. It can be maybe just a mock-up of a website, mock-up of an app. It can be maybe if you are designing furniture, it might be the furniture just made out of from something simple, very crude, not the final product, just to test the main flow, just to test the main functionality. And a prototype can also be a pitch deck. So the pitch decks are what we are doing this time. So for example, if I want to sell something, maybe a model, I typically create like a pitch deck out of that. Maybe like a few slides, meaning like a few slides on a PowerPoint, and then I just explain it. And the slide deck is my prototype out of the service that is going to happen. So prototype can be very something super simple. Maybe you can create the prototype with Legos. This is my 3 year old creating prototypes in a way. So it can be Legos. If you are designing a car or a structure or a furniture, it could be this. If you are designing an app or a website, maybe you go to Figma and use Figma. Let me show you. I think I do have. Well, anyways, I'll just show you the first page. So basically here you can do prototypes and user flows out of apps and something very simple. So this is prototype, and this is how you can already test how your users, the people who you are creating the solution for, feel about it. How do they understand your solution to the problem? This is really the prototype key. And of course, by testing it, you test your idea. Yes, so experimental product, absolutely. All right, hey, let's look into a couple case examples. Just how design thinking has worked. Now, 1 year ago, I was approached and I was told that our university needs to be carbon neutral in 10 years. Now 9 years, and it's a big task. And we were looking at how do our where do our how do we in the first place, how do we do it? And in order to understand the problem of actually making something carbon neutral, of course, we had to first know what people are doing and where are the emissions coming from. And we were doing a lot of calculations. We were looking at the facilities. We were looking at how much people were traveling. We were looking at our research infrastructure, our IT purchases, what people eat, how do they commute, and all kinds of other things. And we came up that our university footprint in 2019 was 4,000 tons of CO2. 4,000 tons is a lot of CO2. If you think about all of that in the air, it's a lot of stuff. So we really then we really started going into the details. Okay, how and trying to understand the problem before even getting into solutions. This is just to understand the problem. We sort of had the define. We already know the challenge. We were back against the wall. We have to be carbon neutral by 2030. That was our goal. We knew that was defined. The challenge was already defined for us. But we of course need to do our homework in order to understand where we are currently. And then also one thing we decided, that we will not pay a single euro to compensate anything. So we are not paying somebody, let's say in Argentina, just coming up with a country who is building a windmill park and paying for that process in order to compensate our emissions. We decided that we will not compensate any our emissions. Our target is to actually produce zero carbon in 10 years. So really that was our goal, because we have no guarantees if the windmill park will ever function in Argentina. I don't have anything against Argentinians. I'm sure they're great people. They're very trustworthy, I'm sure. But really, because we are just moving our sins to somebody else to take care of. And we didn't want to do that. We wanted to have all the strings in our hands, that we know, like by a gram, how much CO2 are we producing. So let's go deeper. Like what was this 4,000 tons of CO2? We knew that these were the brackets. Okay, in facilities, we are looking at electricity, producing 42%, heating creating 42%. Finland is a very cold country. We need to heat a lot, and it consumes a lot of energy. So already 43% was coming from facilities alone. Cleaning, for some reason, apparently, then maybe there's a mistake. This should be like a couple percentage, but waste was like a big part of that. Then we're looking at our people coming to work and traveling. We're looking at, okay, long distance travel is a big chunk, and we're looking at the commuting to work. Just so people drive to work is 50% of our travel carbon footprint. We were looking at our research infrastructure. We are looking once more, heating and electricity was taking most of the time, and then materials, oils, whatever they were using in the research work, they were like 20%, so not that much. And then we were looking at the miscellaneous stuff, food that people eat at the campus were like 90%, and office supplies were like a very small margin. So I'm just curious about you, like what type of solution ideas might you have in order to reduce the carbon footprint of our facilities? How could we solve some of these brackets? Any ideas? Somebody already put public transportation, so let's put that here. Let's talk first about the facilities. What solutions do you have here? Yeah, I hope that India will become carbon free sooner or later. Yeah, carpool. It's once more the travel. Let's put in carpool, cycle benefit. Just reducing consumption. But can we also do something to actually use solar power? Absolutely. Finland is a cold and dark country. We don't have that much solar available. Well, the bus was already bus and trains. So there was a how do you connect this with a design? So really in this case we were designing how to make our university carbon neutral 2030, and we were doing the background work to understand like where we are coming from. So really like at the core of design thinking. Use non-conventional sources, electric cars. Yeah. Yeah, recycling. Yeah, here waste definitely. Well, I didn't even take the waste here, but yeah, absolutely, waste is a big part as well. Facilities, recycling. Hydropower, yes. So green energy. Planting more trees. So yes. So by the way, that's a good way. So local. So. Mm, carbon compen. Let's fix this real quick. Many ideas. So yeah, and CNG, that's a big one in India. So how we were actually solving this. So from here, we moved into completely green energy. So this was all like we had like a certification that all the electricity that the university uses comes from green sources: hydro, uh, solar, wind, and nuclear. Nuclear it's a debate, of course, if it's sustainable or not. But my personal opinion is that nuclear is one of the only midterm solutions, short to midterm solutions for us to have cheap and clean energy available. So I am a pro nuclear, but I understand, of course, that there are safety concerns, there are the pollution concerns as well with that. So this is debatable, but it's just my opinion, and please feel free to have your own, of course. But this was what we decided. So already, what we were able to do was with the electricity, we were able to cut the 42% coming from electricity. And then another thing was, in Finland, we have bedrock very close to the surface. So we have like a surface of the ground, and then we have a bedrock like very close to that. So it's like typically like a few meters, and then bedrock starts. And what this allows us to do is geothermal heating. So our landlord was kind enough to basically turn all of our campuses into geothermal heating. So what is green energy? That would be solar, wind, hydro. Of course, all of that is debatable. So please, people, always think that there are, negatives to all of this. Hydro blocks streams. Fish can't go upstream to make babies. So we are destroying fish reserves with hydropower. It's green. It doesn't produce CO2, but it hurts ecosystems. So it's debatable. It's not only good. So that's hydro. There are solutions around it, but please always take everything with a pinch of salt. Now, wind creates noise pollution, and also it confuses birds when they're trying to navigate and migrate. It confuses their magnetics, sort of the sensor that they have. So it is hurting ecosystems, although it's green energy. Then nuclear, uh, at the spot, zero CO2, doesn't hurt ecosystems, but it produces safety hazard, and it also is something that we need to take like something very radioactive into bedrock. So it's also a question like how is that going to work out in the long term. And solar, well, solar is probably the less sort of pollutant, but at the same time, solar requires a lot of area in order to be, really effective. So there are problems with each one of these. But now we were able to turn our university into geothermal heating. So we were able to basically cut the other 42% with the geothermal heating. And now these were already some like a major things that we were already able to cut basically 80% of these things, and 35% of our total carbon footprint. So with only turning into green energy, electricity, and geothermal heating. So big things, huge reductions already during the first year, just by doing these investments into sustainable energy sources. Now, waste, we know that we have been able to cut 5% currently, but of course, there are still things to do. Now, you also had great ideas here. So what was done was that people were offered a cycle benefit. People were, using at least 40% remote work. Of course, the pandemic reduced the long distance travel by 90%. So, of course, that was something that will then probably come back as well. But now with the commuting, we knew that we were able to cut about 30% out of this. So we were looking at 35% still remaining. But with this, we were almost able to cut it completely. So, up to 5%. So really something a major reductions there. Let me also put those down there. do 30% reductions. And with this, with the research infrastructure, the same thing happened that with the green electricity and the geothermal heating, we were able to cut this down like tremendously as well. And something that's something that I want to also point out here, this is the last one, was the food. Did you know, just a curiosity, I don't know how many of you have been to IKEA. Like IKEA is this a massive Swedish brand of furniture. This is not a advertisement for IKEA, but they have really good meatballs, just like Swedish meatballs. My kid loves them. But did you know that the meatless meatball that has only beans and is meat free compared to the actual meatball is only 4% of the carbon footprint of the meatball. So by turning this into vegetarian food would already cut 96% of our food CO2 emissions. Meat is just so much emissions. And of course, there are, I'm not a food healthy expert. I'm sure that meat is a good nutrition. I'm a vegetarian myself. I'm sure that many of you are. India is really like a vegetarian paradise, so it's easy to be a vegetarian in India, and it's getting easy to be here that as well. But really, because of this, we started pushing a lot of like a vegetarian options for our faculty and our students, and also just to encourage them with advertisement and encourage them with some just make building awareness that, hey, by the way, you will be reducing 46% of your carbon footprint of what you eat when you take the vegetarian option today. And I don't know if you knew the fact, but there is like was it like a 84% or something of land area used by agriculture is used to basically maintain meat production. So like 84% of all land we use for agriculture is for meat. So it is a huge impact. So we could feed 2 times the population that we have with if everyone was vegetarian. So this food issue is a big thing. And I'm not saying that you should be turning into vegan or vegetarian, but it's your planet, and it's a big deal. So if we are looking at having already like 80% from here, looking at having major reduction here as well, like a half, and then 80% reduction here, we are looking at already that our carbon footprint has dropped 2/3 in 1.5 years of this thing going on. If you think about every Finnish home, for example, Finland is a small country, but if we would have the opportunity to move to green electricity, would be able to invest into geothermal heating and reduce our food, what we eat, and eat more vegetarian food, we would actually we would reduce 2/3 of our carbon footprint. It's not carbon neutral just yet, but I think it's a massive thing. I don't know what you think, but it's a really big deal. So currently we are already like a very well already reaching our goal, and I think Samkis are leading carbon uh, carbon diet university in Finland, or maybe even in the world. Yeah. So and plastic, like the plastic question is also interesting. That's because plastic is a wonderful material. It's super recyclable. It's super good at protecting food. If let's say we have zero hunger, we need to bring food to places where it's hard to bring it. So plastic is super good to protect food. It's super versatile. But the problem is that people don't recycle it. If we would have 99% of plastic recycled, it would be like the magic material. But the problem is humans. We don't recycle our plastics. If we would do that, it would be amazing. But unfortunately, that's not the case. But let's recycle our plastics. So if you buy a plastic product, please recycle it. It's a wonderful material to be recycled. So yes, so just a quick recap. So some sustainable development goals that were addressed: affordable and clean energy, sustainable cities and communities, responsible consumption and production, and climate action. So I think we were hitting many things with our design for this. And really, I think our design was very successful. We did our homework well. We did our solution ideas well. We actually have a windmill park coming up. We also have our carbon compensation forest coming up, like a lot of things. So I'm really happy with how this design worked. I don't know if you understand sort of the design perspective of this, but we use a design process to understand where our problems and gaps are, and build on top of that solutions that we could then test. And now they are in action, and we see a huge benefit for that. But hey, I'm just curious about from our backstage people is when our guest speaker also arrives, then I'm more than happy to give the stage. I do have another example case, so which I can cover or give the floor to our guest. So any word from the backstage, or any questions from the audience? We have been covering a lot of stuff. No comments from the backstage, at least not so far. Any comments from the audience, or should we discuss something else, something very different? No question, it seems like. So let's, somebody was already bringing up the equality and inclusion case example. So I'm sure that by now you have realized that the world is full of different types of people. And in many cultures, sort of the inclusion is still something that is when it comes to gender equality, or it comes to people that have maybe some physical handicap, or maybe people that are non-binary, meaning that they don't identify neither as a man or as a woman, and all that. And now I think that this is a really important topic for us to discuss, and I think it's at a core of sustainable development as well, because increasingly in high productivity, high tech, high design, whatever, where super smart people are present and working, the companies are even more multicultural, and also different types of sort of people come there to work. And it's really important that, although as a political point of view, maybe you don't agree with all of these statements and all that, but it's not, I think that of course we all have our opinions there. But as a successful person in the future, I think one of the key things for you is to learn how to work with different types of people. And I think that that's really at a core of sustainable development as well. So I actually wanted to share you some thoughts about how to create equal and inclusive work in environment for all kinds of people to actually work. So let's check a few comments here. Now, some just topics that I wanted to pick up in order to make this happen, and this comes from my own startup experiences. So I've had the luxury of working with 3 startups so far, and the last one was a team of 20 people, and this team included different nationalities. It also included people that were, non-binary in terms of gender, different, skin tones, skin colors, different languages, different nationalities, different, sexual minorities, gender minorities, like so many different people. And really, these questions came to us at that point that, okay, there are some structures uh, about our society and about our working culture that we just need to address. So all of a sudden, we had 20 people in the same room starting to work together. We were looking at the office space, and there were just some like things that came up. First of all, let's start with this. I don't know if you have noticed, but there are quite often restrooms or toilets for men and women only. And so, to which toilet somebody who doesn't identify as a male or woman goes? If you're a business owner and you have boys and girl toilets, and somebody doesn't belong to each category, so where did that person go? So it's like a silly question. We have this structure in place where we expect that people will find either men's or girls' toilet, the place to go. But really, something very very at the core of creating inclusive working spaces is to just remove some of these structures, meaning that you would have an inclusive space, also a toilet, where basically everybody, whoever they are, doesn't matter what the skin color or what the gender is, can go. And then the problem with this was, when we're sort of designing an inclusive space, we're trying to understand, why can't there be just gender neutral toilets? People were saying, well, boys pee on the floor. I was like, this is amazing. Like, why can't boys stop peeing on the floor? And then, okay, well, let's make it sure that everybody who goes to the toilet just make sure that the toilet is clean at the same condition when they came in. And all of a sudden, all the toilets became very fresh, very clean, and everybody was okay going there. And we didn't need this structure of separating people and putting them into two categories. For some people, it might be very obvious, but I think like this was just like a realization to us that, okay, we have this weird structure that we have been living with for 25 years, 30 years, and now maybe in our work culture we should get rid of that. So it doesn't help us. So really something that, I mean, these things like creating this sort of inclusive environments is that really like creating and normalizing the work environment and reducing like these two or like taking out these two sort of binary or these sort of structures where we separate people or put them into categories. So we treat everybody as one, no matter what the gender or ethnicity or everything is. And quite often in this company, sort of a meritocracy where, who knows this best does this, who is good at financing does financing, who is interested and has a degree with that or just a particular know-how. It's more about what you do, what you know, what you can do, you as a person, and not about like what type of sort of stigmas you might have to carry with you. So really, I think this is the leadership that if ever you are a business owner, you are working in a group, you just need to set the tone right, that hey, all of always our everybody's welcome. We treat people as individuals, and this is something that we are good at, and this is part of our company culture or team culture. And of course, something like a zero tolerance would be included. So in terms of design, what we went through, we were just discussing with every of our individual at the company, and like asking them like, what is your like favorite and dream workplace? How does things work there? And all of these answers came from those discussions. and through which we were identifying some of these problems like men and boys and girls toilets, and how to sort of get rid of that sort of separation and make an inclusive space where everybody's welcome and people don't need to worry about going into dirty toilets or feel like I don't belong to each one of these categories. So really, I keep this example very short because I hope that also our guest is joining very soon. Um, but really, in order to design also good workplaces where also they are inclusive, everybody is welcome, because in the future you will have experts that come from various different characters, and they are individuals. So how do you treat everybody as an individual and everybody's welcome at the workplace? The key is to discuss and talk about these things. And once more, when there's a problem, look back to the design process and try to understand what the problem is, and try finding like really how we can start solving these issues in the workplace, because it's only humans there. The only way for us to work on things is to interact. So now, as a smart individuals as we are, and many of you will be leaders and directors in some communities, it's your job to take the initiative and start talking and building this sort of atmosphere where everybody is welcome, and these also sustainable development goals are taken into account, including things like gender equality and building decent work environments for people and reducing these inequalities. So this was something very simple and maybe quite abstract, but please be mindful of this, because really this is something key for you to be successful in your career in the future. So that's why I wanted to also share this example with you. But hey, how is our guest coming? Because I would like to hand over the mic really soon, and then finally we'll touch about the how the sort of the submission will look like, and then hopefully after that we can wrap up this session. So hopefully we'll use maybe 30 minutes of your time, and then you can start working on this. Yeah, I think the guest's name were all on our School of Design webpage. But hey, any questions about the approach, about what I was mentioning here? Now it's a good time for Q&A, and we'll touch upon the prototyping after our guest speaker, and also about how you can submit your work, and how do we will evaluate those today, and who will get to talk tomorrow and present their work. Okay, looks like it might be that our guest is a bit late. So now let's talk a bit about prototyping. Now, we were like your challenge. Let me talk it through here. So your challenge will be to pick up an important sustainable development goal to you. So what is important to you? And design an approach how to increase the awareness of that sustainable development goal in your local community. So I repeat this. Pick an important SDG to you and design an approach how to increase the awareness of the SDG in your local community. And the solution will be presented tomorrow as a slide deck. So basically you will have a PowerPoint presentation. Of course, you can share your screen and you can show whatever you want, but really a PowerPoint would be something very useful, or some other documentation. And really before today midnight, you should be already submitting your idea for a review. So tomorrow we'll let you know in the morning who will get to pitch the idea. And now in terms of prototyping, so basically the idea is that if you can do either, like the prototype will be your deck, your pitch deck, your PowerPoint. You can use Figma or Miro or whatever tools in order to illustrate your solution. if if it needs illustration. Of course, if it's like a campaign, you can of course just elaborate and write it through. There are different ways to approach this, but really your prototype that you will be pitching to us would be on a PowerPoint presentation. If you have the time, you can of course look into making a video of that. You can look into Figma, maybe making like a working prototype. If it's an app, if it's a website, something else, feel free to use your creativity here. But really the minimum viable prototype would be you presenting a PowerPoint to us about your solution. And now really the test will be the actual presentation. So you will get feedback of that. You will have the people who will get selected to the presentation or to the presentation will have 5 minutes time to present and 5 minutes time to get feedback. Maybe it's like a 5 plus 3, but in any case, roughly who will be presenting will have a total of 10 minutes for you. 5 minutes presentation and another 5 minutes for uh, for the for the feedback. Now, what I really encourage you to do is to be professional. So the maximum time will be 5 minutes. So we will stop the clock and we'll actually need to stop you if you go over. 5 minutes is a long time. So please really practice your talk and make sure it fits to 5 minutes. I really recommend this NABC model, how you can present. Now, if you can Google what NABC means, but it basically it's need. So you elaborate the need, you elaborate the approach, the benefits, and optionally you can compare it to other solutions and approaches. So really, we want to hear a story, why this is important, how you are going to how you are going to solve it, and what the benefits are. Of course, some of these are very needless to say. We trust you that you pick up the important stuff. But 5 minutes is the hard maximum time, and then we will actually stop you. So please be professional. Use rather 4.5 minutes than more than 5 minutes. So the task is going to be to basically to create a 5-minute presentation of your solution to the challenge. And your prototype can be whatever you decide it to be, but the minimum viable prototype will be a slide deck where you explain your approach, where you explain your solution. And the challenge, once more, we'll share it. I mean, I'm sure that we'll share you a WhatsApp and email after this, is to pick up an important SDG from this list that is important to you and design an approach how to increase the awareness of that particular SDG in your local community. That local community can be your friends, can be your family, your relatives, your school, your city, your country, however you want to describe it. And I think that maybe where to present that or where to submit, I think that Anamika will be giving you, or Atskar will be giving you the instructions on that. But hey, I think we have our guest here, so let me stop my screen here as well, and yeah, over to you, Atskar. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Santari. And now we have our second guest today. Today we have with us Yashasvi Vats. Yash is a marketing professional having 18 years global experience, ranging from developing and implementing growth hacking strategies, strategies for brand marketing, non-brand marketing, and ROI-based marketing to strategic alliances, business development, product management, product marketing, and key account management. Experience in both a B2C and B2B environment for acquiring or retaining customers, and has extensive experience in virtual events. He is currently working as an AVP with Geo Business PMM partner GTM GeoCloud. Welcome, Yash.
Hi, Asgar. I am. You guys, can you see my screen? Otherwise, I think I'll have to re-log in because of.
We can see you, but not your screen.
Let me try.
It
Yeah,
took a
I'll have
while
to.
with me as well.
No, the problem is with the Mac. So I'm using a new browser, and that browser does not have access to my screen recordings. Just give me 1 second. Let me just re-log in to another browser.
Yeah.
Just give me 1 second.
Sure thing. Let's look at the comments in the meanwhile. So, Oskar, maybe you can elaborate on that. So, are we using Teams tomorrow or Google Meets? So, we will basically invite the people that will be presenting, who we choose to present, and then you will join the Teams call, and one after another, of course, you will be handed over the mic, and you get to present.
So we'll be using Zoom most probably. Yeah, where everyone has an access to the mic and screen sharing. It will be easy for students to share their presentations with us.
Yeah. And we'll share you the information package after this, like about the challenge in wording and all that. So please hang tight. You will get all the information if you weren't able to follow me before. All right, but yes. Is the screen share working?
Is it working? Is my screen visible now?
Not yet,
No,
but
we can't
it
see it
took me
yet.
a while.
No, I know. Let me just. I didn't want to do this part because it would make me restart the browsers, but let me do this. Screen recording, Chrome. I'll give it to Edge, quit and open. Okay, let's try one more time. Otherwise, I'll.
Mhm. Sorry, folks, about the technical difficulties, but when we are using technology, this always tends to happen. So it is what it is. But luckily, we have uh, good setups that typically end up working after a while. So what is the topic? I've mentioned it quite a few times, but let me say it one more time. So your job is to pick up one of the SDGs that is important to you, and then basically create design a solution on how to build awareness around that topic in your local community. All right, now it looks like there is a lot of screen share going on.
Yes,
Great,
I think so
thank
too.
you. Perfect. All right, stage is yours.
Thanks, and Terry. Thanks, Asgar. Okay. So guys, we're talking about design thinking today, and I think Santuri has already covered the basics. I saw his last slide, so I'm going to skip some part. And before I start, let me give you about what I do for a living and what I am doing right now. So currently, I've just joined Geo not even a few months, a few weeks back, as an AVP, and my role is the partner GTM. Geo is coming up with a new cloud offering, and I'm going to be working with in that cloud team. We are yet to be launched. We are going to launch somewhere at the end of this month, and yeah, that's about me. And I have spent about close to 19 years in the digital industry, and being using digital design thinking for various works that I've been doing in this industry, and so on and so forth. And today I'm gonna touch only try and cover two small topics of it, which would be one would be how does colors impact design thinking. What is the impact of colors, And second, how do websites use design thinking, which would be a little bit of UI and UX part of the design thinking. And I'm trying to tell you that the design thinking is like an ocean. These two are just like small drops in that ocean. Um, I think this has already been covered from what I saw with Suntory's deck right now. So I'm going to skip this. I also want to say, where can we implement design thinking principles? So it can be implemented from a small thing like a product to a website to an app to running a large business to running your home to running a nation and even running your life. So design principles of design thinking are not only just for business products, they can be used anywhere and everywhere. With that, let me come. Uh, Azhar, how do we ask? Let me see. Okay, questions, comments. Okay. So I'm gonna keep on opening the comments on the side. So guys, I think I can't see comments while I'm presenting, so I'll come back to comments at the end. Will that work?
Yes, sir, that would work. We can do the Q&A at the end of the session.
Sure. Yes. Coming back to my deck. Okay, guys, another disclaimer. The deck is not made to present. The deck is to keep my thought process in line. So what about colors and design thinking? Why are colors important? Colors depict a lot of things. They add a lot of emotions. You see different colors, you behave differently. You perceive different thing. You are all students. One simple example is, Valentine Day. Red rose means something else. Yellow rose something else. Pink rose means something else. White rose something else. The reason, while it looks key, people might have just set it up like that. The reality is that it came, it came with a lot of emotions. That why red denotes love and relationship. Yellow becomes friendship, fun, and white becomes like putting your guard down and say, okay, let's call it a truce, and so on and so forth. um, so some colors, so red, like I said, there are warm colors, there are cold colors. So what are warm colors? Warm colors are colors like red, yellow, orange. They normally mean, they have just give me a second, I need to take this. Hello. Hello. Hi. I guess you're calling. I guess that. Can you call me back in an hour? I'm sorry. I'm just pulled into a sudden unplanned meeting. Thanks. Thanks, Ethan. Thanks. Sorry about that. I had planned a call with Microsoft, and then I got pulled in a little earlier to this. So I had to tell them that I'm going to speak with them in after an hour. So yeah, coming back. So red, orange, yellow, positivity. Positive emotions for red generally are warmth, comfort. Negative emotions are anger, hostility, or passion. While some would say passion is also a positive emotion, but yeah, you can play it the way. So if you look at some logos like Airtel, Fun School, Hamleys, they are in red because they want to show, especially Fun School, Hamleys, they are for children, so they want to show warmth, they want to show give you comfort, and that's the reason why they have chosen those as the colors. Similarly, Airtel, again, warmth, comfort, and passion also. Similarly, if you look at cold colors would be blue, green, indigo, and violet. Normally, cold colors, the emotions are sweetness, quietness, trust, confidence, or contemplation. So, if you look at majority of the corporate websites for businesses would have a blue website or shades of blue because that denotes trust and confidence. Skype, Microsoft. Um Tropicana is a food product. They are in green because they want to depict a trust in their brand, and so on and so forth. Colors and genders, so each gender, reacts differently to color. For example, men, the combinations of black, white, and gray would denote to talk better. So, for example, Mercedes and their target audience is men, so their website is all black, white, and gray. Women, the colors that they generally work, they relate to more are red, blue, and pink. So if you look at a Miss Malini website, they've used pink, red, and shades of red to target their audience. What about color and age? So again, for adults, combination of red and blue work very well. So Pepsi has been using. So Pepsi has always thought, unlike Coke, for which it is about warmth and fun, so they use red. Pepsi uses red and blue because they want to reach out to adults. Uh, Fila, another such brand which is using red and blue because they want to reach out to adults. What about children? So children normally, the traffic light, red, yellow, and green. So when children, so honestly, all colors work for children, but red, yellow, and green have a special importance because from childhood they are taught about the importance of a red light, yellow light, green light while crossing, and they look at them that way. For example, if a teacher marks your copy in red, okay, these are mistakes. I need to correct them. You have somewhere to go. It's normally green, and so forth. When you play games, the buttons are green there also for go. Some other colors for children: yellow, orange, red, purple, each having their own meaning. Yellow for optimism, warmth, clarity; bright attractiveness, treasure, reach; rich; orange for creatively youthful, enthusiastic, center of attention, kid friendly; red becomes powerful, warm, energetic; urgent, stands out, exciting, bold; purple, imaginative, royal confidence; wisdom, draws people in; loyalty. So, okay, I'm talking about colors, and you know why this is important in the design thinking, because what colors you use in whatever way you want to use it, whether you're making a website or a company logo, or maybe using it in your product, it will have an impact on the user, how user would perspective it. It would also help you communicate what you want to communicate. For example, if okay, I think I put one. Yes, but one example. Now, SpiceJet, Vistara, both are airlines. One uses a red color, the other one uses golden and combinations. Reason being, SpiceJet wants to show them as youthful, hot, fast, so they use red. Vistara use combinations of gold because they want to show that they're premium, they're elegant, and so forth. So colors are very, very important in design thinking. You need to understand what colors are you using. You really can't pick up a color because, oh, I like this shade of blue. Let me make the website in blue. Or like this shade of red. Oh, I'm a person who likes black. You might make something out, but black talks more to men than to women, which means you might not reach your target audience. So while choosing color, please note that you have to look at your target audience. If your target audience is more male than female, use black, gray, white. If your target is more female than males, then use pink, red, blue. If it's more children, then use purple, yellow, red again. And also, what you want to depict. You want to depict some strong message, something. So use colors accordingly. And that's really why colors are very, very important in whatever you do. Without colors, choosing the right colors, you might miss out on a lot of things, including see why this is why you're using design thinking. You're using design thinking to create products, and at the end goal of the product is to make money, right? Big business, right? How much you're making money or popularity or whatever. So that's why the color becomes important. If you remember, going back a few years in your classes, you'll realize you were taught why our national flag has three plus one, the fourth color, because each color means something in the national flag. The saffron, the white, the green, and the Ashoka chakra in blue, they all mean something. They all depict something, and that's the importance of colors. And that's why colors are a very important bit of design thinking. What kind of things you want to use, what kind of color schemes you want to use, what kind of palette you want to use. And companies, they fix their colors. I've been this is Geo, so we have a set palette. We can't use beyond that. Before this, I was working with Microsoft. Microsoft, we had a very, very different palette for every different kind of product. For Azure, that was a different color scheme. For Office, there was a different color scheme, and we had to stick with that. We had to work in that, and that's the reason, because that color detected something that we wanted to show out. So, like I said, I'm gonna connect. Let me see if I have some questions for this. Otherwise, I'll. Sorry about that. Um, yeah, let me see. Yes, Supriya, colors, depict your emotions. Anup, you're right. People attract colors. What colors to use if we have our target audience as both elders and children? Well, then use combinations. Use red. Red, combination of red with orange, combination of red and green are good when you want to target both adults and children. Sriyansh, can you please explain your job? Uh, so I'm a product marketing person. So my job is to develop product, look at the product, help, and then market that product. Get people to adopt what we have made. Okay, I don't see any more questions, so I'll continue. And guys, I said, it's been too long. It's been 2 hours. So my presentation is going to take not more than 10-15 minutes more. So you're going to get free before that. Hopefully, if they don't have any more sessions. Okay, so sorry, Azhar. Okay, next part. Like I said, the second part I wanted to cover today was, website and apps and design thinking. Now, when you look at website and apps, there are why design thinking is important. Website and apps, the design thinking is important for precisely two things. One, focus, which would be your users and their needs, what they want to, what the users, who the users are. Like I said, male, female, age, gender, business, not business, working, non-working, and what they want to accomplish by coming to your website or app. Whether you want them to shop, whether you want them to read, whether you want them to do whatever you want them to do. And the outcome of using this right is satisfied users, that they get why they came to your website. Two, it helps you retain more users. Remember, it is cheaper to retain users than get new users. The cost of getting a new user is very, very high than retaining them. Third, not only retaining, it also helps you get more loyal users. Um, One question, I'll see there's comments for answers. Do you guys go to the same site for shopping? For example, let's say if you go online shopping, do you end up going to the same site again and again, or maybe one site more than the other site? See, the reason is that because that website fulfills what you want to fulfill, and you feel connected to that website, and that's why this focus part becomes very important. And when you get loyal users, they also promote it. You would also tell others to go to the website, that this is a good site to do this. Go and check it out, and that gets you more users without actually spending money on that users. And when you achieve all the three above, you end up making more money, and that's the outcome always, right? So, but how do you achieve this? From design thinking, yes, but two important aspects of design thinking: UI and UX. Can anybody tell me what is UI and UX? Paras, I meant it, after you've compared websites. So I also compare websites, but then I stick to one. Okay, user interface. And what is So that is UI, absolutely right. And what is UX? User experience. Correct. Aditya and Vanshika, correct. So, yeah. So like, UI is user interface. Basically, what you do on your website, how you place things on your website or app or your product. Or let's say if you are running a store and people can go, and so if you go to say a big bazaar, they have made the store in a certain way, kept certain things at certain place. That is all about user experience. Where do you go out? For example, this is a milk section. You find all kinds of milk and milk products. There'll be another section which is only groceries. There'll be a section which is only frozen foods. All that is user exp is UI, which is the user interface that you have created. What the user experience from that is, I am for me it is easy to find things. If I know if I have to buy frozen food, I'll go to the frozen section straight away. That becomes a user experience. Better the user experience is, the more loyal your users will be, the more the more you will be able to retain your users, and so on and so forth. So what do you have to work? You have to work on a good UI, but the end result of the UI or the user interface that you create, which is in your hand, is so that you get the best user experience. One way of doing it, and if you go back to the philosophy of design thinking, is you make a prototype and you test the prototype. Make a sample website, show it to 10 people. For example, for the new business that I am a part of in Geo today, the team, they created a website for it, and we were all doing a testing of the prototype, whether it is what we want to achieve out of it, what is the experience of the user, and so on and so forth. Yes, Devan, make it easier, simpler, faster. For example, if I go to if I have to buy one specific product, I'll go and I'll buy it and I'll come back. But mind it, your UI, apart from getting a best user experience, also has to solve a business problem. For example, and people do this in a store, and store is one of the best examples for it. Let's say in my store, I am launching a new product and I want people to buy it. What would I do? People don't know the product. So I'll put that product at the starting. So I change my UI not to, for users to experience that new product or see that new product. And that's how I get users to try that thing and get it. uh she asked, like I said, UX is the outcome of a good UI is the interface that you design as a company, as a marketer, as a product manager. How you're helping people interact with. For example, when you use PowerPoint, the buttons on the top, buttons on the left, all that is the user interface. And the UX is the experience. As a user, when I use that user interface, what is my experience? Do I feel good, bad? That's it. So advertising and pamphlets are part, and they might have UI, UX. For example, if you're making an email or a website, plain simple website, I'm not talking about a shopping site right now, the UI becomes a part of your advertising. And what people, when they see your content and feel and react, that becomes your experience. Yes, Paras, interface is like design. How to convert your Figma prototype into app, that would take a full discussion. But on a Figma prototype, you have a lot of, there are two ways of doing it. One, you code the website from zero and use the Figma prototype as your blueprint. Second, you also have this low code, no code tools nowadays available, and you can use them even if you don't know coding to create an app. The low code, no code tools can be something like Power Apps from Microsoft, which is one of the one used. So that's the answer to your question, Jyoti Radhya Ganguly. Coming back to my presentation, and so what are the top tips when you want to do, design tips for UI? One, know your users. If you don't know your users, you can't make it, because knowing your users would fix the colors. How do you want them to react? Define how people use your interface. What do I mean by define? Know that whether they'll use them on a mobile phone, or they'll use them on a desktop, or you are creating an interface which is there in, for example, if you go to malls, you have those big interfaces that people can touch and tap. All that, where they are using your interface and how they're using interface is what you need to define. Third, set expectations. What do I mean by set expectations? Very simple. I come to the website, I should know what the website is going to do for me or the app is going to do to me. If I click somewhere, I should know what to expect after clicking there. And you can do them by a lot of things. At times you can do them by using colors. You can do it by using text. For example, let's say if this is gonna help me start a game, and so I put it a green color, and so forth. Anticipate mistakes. Know that people might click it and by mistake, and even if they don't want to, so anticipate that, change that, remove that. If you really want to people to make that mistake, use it to your advantage, but if not, then remove it. uh, Give feedback fast. So whatever people, and this by giving feedback fast, I don't mean to give feedback fast to your product managers. I am talking about giving feedback fast to your designer, or sorry, to your customer. For example, if you shop from Microsoft, the moment you have shopped, your shopping is over, you get a message, your payment is received. Thank you for shopping. We are gonna you're gonna get receive the product in 10 days. That is the feedback, and that has to come immediately. Mailchimp does it amazingly. It's a, yeah, your mail is scheduled with a thumbs up, with a high five. uh, think carefully about the element placement and size. So every design, every website has different elements. At times they're buttons, at times they're banners. Look at their size, look at where you are placing them, how you are placing them. Seventh, very important, don't ignore the standards. Don't think, yeah, I'll make this so innovative, so different that people would forget about it. Apple did that. Apple created a phone nobody had created before that. Okay, but they had to go back and change a lot of things that they never wanted to in the phone. For example, I don't know how many of you, I don't think anyone of you would know that, but the first iPhone did not have a search in contacts, and that search was a standard at that time for contacts in phones. Apple thought, no, I don't want it. They ignored it, and they faced so much backlash that they had to update their OS in the next 3 4 months. So don't ignore the standards. Even the best of design companies like Apple can do those mistakes, and then they cover it up. Very important. It has to be very easy to use. If people can't understand your interface, you lose them. One of the best user interface I see nowadays is the Amazon shopping app. It's better than the website. Normally the app interface is, because of limited space, is worse than the website. But here it's better than the website. So, and it's easy for people to learn and people to remember and people to navigate. What are the best practices? One, somebody just read, keep it simple. Keep the interface as simple as possible. Create consistency. Use common buttons. Use common icon. Don't show something in red in one side and at one place, and something in same thing in blue at the other place. Make your page layout purposeful. Let the page, whatever your target audience wants, they should be able to do that, not what you want to push it to them. You have to keep that balance there. Color and texture, I have already spoken about. Typography, create hierarchy, create, this is where the step 1, step 2, put the clarity there. And the system should communicate what is happening. For example, if I'm clicking this and this is gonna do a purchase, I should know that. Last, like I said, think about the defaults. Some very important points when you look at websites. One is accessibility. What does accessibility mean? Let me see if somebody can guess what does accessibility mean. Okay, how to do organic marketing these days to sell your product? You need to, I ask Asghar to set up a second session. Organic marketing or $0 marketing is a 1 hour, 1.5 hour session, Vanshika. Sorry. Or ask them to connect them with me. I'll be happy to share some $0 marketing ideas that I have been consulting other startups with. Yeah, one thing I didn't tell you was I consult a lot of startup for the marketing, especially $0 and organic marketing. The more better our interfaces, the more better we will get experience. Absolutely right. Early in core, it means how to use something accessibility. No. So I'll tell you what does accessibility means is very simple. See, you and me are blessed that all our senses are working right. You know, we can see, we can hear, we can talk, we can touch, we can feel. A lot of people can't do that. There are people who can't see. Okay, so your website should be able to work for them as well. Okay, somebody who can't hear, and you have you have a video on your website, and the video needs to have the text running at bottom so that they can read it if they can't hear it. That is accessibility. Why is accessibility important? It is important for two things. One, it shows that you as a brand, as a company, care for people and is making it available for everyone. Two, what has also started happening, search engines rank accessible sites better than the other sites. Captions are only, for example, I'll show you. For example, if I have an image on a website, so let me know if you can see my screen. Let's say this is an image. Each image needs to have a alt text. So if I can't see this image, right? I can't see Jacqueline Fernandez here in this image if I can't see. So, but see, if I'm rolling it up, it's telling Jacqueline Fernandez break silence. So, this is all text, which is, if the image is not there, what is the alternate of the image? That has to be important, and those has to be there. There are much more things than like that. All text, uh, uh, captions in the videos, like Paras Jangra just mentioned. But it has to be, so that's accessibility. It has to be for everyone. Two, very important. And I see, if you go to old government websites, you can't open them on the mobile, right? They come as if they come on desktop, and you have to then zoom to reach each text. But a normal website, take an example of this. If I use on a mobile size device, it becomes a mobile site website, right? Now this is different. This is not mobile. This is responsive, basically. The same page gets readjusted depending on the size of my device. If it's a phone, it would get adjusted to a size of a phone. If it's a tablet, it would come to the size of a tablet, and it would react according to that. For example, on tablet, taps would start working instead of click. Yes, Paras, metadata is the way for accessibility for blind people, especially. Coming back, and the second I said, on my slide I had, was mobile. So this is old. Initially, when tablets were not that, now also tablets are not that common, but still, initially websites had two websites. There would be a normal website, there would be m.dot website. M.dot would be a mobile website, and that was okay. Google, I think about 6 years back, came up with a new policy that if your website does not have mobile version of it, they will not crawl the website, which means you would not rank on Google. But now there are two problems. People use different sizes. For example, I am using a 16-inch Mac. Then I use a tablet which is 12 inches, and then I have a phone which is 8 inches. So I have different size. So then the second way of creating a mobile website does not work anymore. So what people do is now they use responsive websites where it readjusts according to the size of the screen. Third is machine readability. Why is a machine readability important? It is important because it has to be read by the machine. Then only, Google, when it crawls a website for SEO, by crawling it means it makes a copy of your website. And for doing that, Google needs to be able to read your website. And that's the reason why the website has to be machine readable. You put too many images, don't use the metadata correctly, it would not work. And I think that's, oh, very one thing. How often do you think that people website designs change? Have you guys seen that, the website, they have changed the design, the whole design of the website, and it gets irritating at times. How I was so used to it. Why did they change it? Can anyone tell me why people change website designs? Website which have been running for like ages and they change the website design. So while people are typing, let me show some examples. So there's the tool known as Wayback Machine. So I use that to see. Naukri was my first job, so very close to my heart. So I opened Naukri.com in various times. So this is how Naukri.com website used to look in 2000, and in the year 2000, on March 2nd, 2000, it used to look like this. It changed to this on 18th March 2005. Okay, you have best places to work, top employers, job gallery, recruiters page, resume free, jobs in print, and so on and so forth. Then in 2015, they changed this to again like this, where you had company logos on top employers on left. Best places to work is still there, but it is now categorized. Then you have the job gallery again categorized according to industry. Okay, and now this is how Naukri.com looks now. So if you designs again changed, job gallery, top employers have all gone, and you have different sections now. Now I'll come back to my question, which was asking why did Naukri do this? Okay, Vanshika says, okay, let me read. When sales drop because of the updates to make it easier to attract new people, they learn that they are not getting new customers. To make it unique and like nobody can copy, to get more attractive features and targets. Yeah, Paras. Depends on the target audience. If you think your target audience are only on mobile, then you might not want to have a website, Paras. To get more attractive features and target more audience when sales drop, to get more attractive, it is useful due to increasing competition, keep them updated to get more features. Well, you are all right. You are all right in a way. But what happens is at times there's user fatigue. The user sees the same thing, they go to the same section, they don't look at newer things which are coming on your website, and so that's a problem. So people, what Nokia used to do at one point of time, they used to put something as new. See, MRF paints new. This would attract them to MRF paints because this is a huge link of list of companies, and they used to get missed. Okay, and I remember we used to charge extra, and I used to be in Naukri at that time. We used to charge extra if, for example, if let's say Shapur Palunji bought this section and they'll get new automatically for 1 month, and if they wanted for the second month, we would charge them extra to put a new for the second month because that would make them stand out. So one of the reasons why companies do is that. But secondly, what companies keep on doing is they keep on checking a heat map. What is a heat map? A heat map is something like this. This is a heat map for a Google search page. So where you see dark red, people click there more, people look at there more. Where it's yellow, people do it less. Green is very, very less. And the other shaded part is even lesser. So people keep on looking at a heat map of their website like this. And that heat map makes them realize, okay, where should I put my banner, or where should I put more text so that people react and people work on it, and that makes them cleaner. At times it's also a need of the business. For example, this model of having so many less places to work. Now, for example, somebody buys a job gallery, they say, I don't even come in the first screen. So to give you an idea, top employers was the most expensive product, followed by best places to work, followed by job gallery. Now, for example, this guy, SRM Technologies, he would say, I'm paying you top money, but I'm coming even lower than a job gallery. So that's another problem, that you can't really do justice to every customer. So you change the interface at that time because of that. You also change interface because of change in technologies. Initially, websites, Naukri.com website was made for because we were accessing Naukri only from desktop. Because the mobile penetration increased, then they had to make a design which is so the website looks the same on the mobile as well as desktop. You can't have this design. This design can simply be not rendered on a mobile website. So that's a second change in technology. And the impact, like you guys already said, is at times more sale, better user experience, which means more users, and so on and so forth. So, guys, I've done with my presentation as such. If you want, I can answer some questions or take you from Anupriya. For me, the session has ended. If you guys want, I can take you to a few more examples or answer a few more questions or say bye bye, and we can all enjoy a happy Friday and a good Makar Sankranti. It's Makar Sankranti also today. Yes, Shuash. Making the user experience better every time is something which is is one of the major reasons people are doing that. And for that, the heat map becomes important. There are various tools by which you can see the heat map of a website, including Google Analytics. Supriya, okay, I'll give you a short summary. So I talked about two things. One is colors. What's the importance of colors? Why you should choose different colors and what the colors mean in design thinking. How do you, depending on the user experience, how the color combination changes, depending upon your product philosophy, how the color combination changes. For example, you're targeting only males, make it black and white and gray. Uh, if you are making it for children, make it red, orange, purple. For women, it would be red, green, blue, so and so forth. That's first part. Second, I spoke about the user interface for a website, which is a small part of design thinking. Please understand, this is not what design thinking is all about. This is just a small part of design thinking. What you should do for a right user interface. You should keep it simple. You should have consistency. You should use the right combination of colors. You should tell people what the action is. You should also think which kind of device they are using. No, Paras, design thinking is not limited to colors. Like I said, colors is a very small part of design thinking. It's an important part, but a very small part. Similarly, interface is also a small part. So I thought I'll, instead of giving you overall gyan about design thinking, which was a session before that, let me go into specifics and tell you one or two things which is very specific there. Supriya, if you want to attract more males and females and adults, best combinations are red and blue, like the Pepsi logo, like the Fila logo. Priyansh, you'll have to take that up with Asghar and the team.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thanks, Asghar. Thanks, everyone.
All right. So is everybody familiar with what's next? So we are expecting your prototype and idea presentations. There were a lot of good stuff talking about the inclusion and accessibility. Everything is connected, and now there's great details that you can also consider when you are making your prototypes and creating your solutions. So we might be reducing the time a bit. So Anamika and Atskar will be sharing you more details about your submission, and we hope that you present or send those back before midnight today. So then we can have enough time for you to let you guys know that who is going to present tomorrow and what time everything is happening. So, but if everything is clear, there will be information following on WhatsApp and other channels. So please stay tuned. Ask Anamika and Atskar for more information. Thank you very much for all the co-hosts here, and I really hope that you guys enjoyed. And the Miro board and everything should be shared to you, so you should be well off with getting going. So, but I think this is for today. Might be. And we carry over on the WhatsApp side. So Atskar, do you have any closing words? I think we are done for today. I'm looking forward to for tomorrow and for your submissions.
So thank you so much, Sandri, and thank you, Yasu, for wonderful sessions. I hope everyone submits their ideas before the midnight. Thank you and have a good day.
Yeah, thank you. See you
Thanks,
tomorrow.
Thanks, Santoshi. Bye bye. See you.
Thank you.
Bye.